right, welcome in everybody to the latest edition of Falls Count Anywhere podcast here on September 4th. September 24th of 2022. I am Charlie Turner along here with Chris DiCarlo and John Restino. Gentlemen, summer is now officially over. We are into fall. Get ready to freeze our balls off coming up here in the next few months. We're not really looking forward to that, but we are going to warm some things up today from the great state of Texas. And we're going to do that with our special guest today. Chris, go ahead and take it away, buddy.
Yes. Again, we talk about wrestling royalty, and we are honored and privileged to have this gentleman join us today on our show, all the way from Texas, former Mid-Atlantic champion, tag team champion, former Southeastern champion, Memphis champion, USWA and GWF champion. He's been all over the territories, a great pro wrestling career, the one and only Mr. Black Bart. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Don't forget that WCCW title that I held against Kevin Von Erich as the world heavyweight champion.
There he is. Yes, sir. There it is.
Can't say that, brother.
In 1986. Yes, I forgot. I was trying to remember them all.
1986, brother, is the worst year of my life. I was fighting the Von Erichs, but it was an experience, and I was getting to do it in Texas, so I was happy. Yeah. I was talking a little bit there. I won't get it in while it's on the air, and I'll try to shorten it up, I don't know. I don't know how to shorten some things up, and I. Sometimes
have at it.
And I go.
Yeah.
And sometimes I go too long, but if you tell me to shut up like y'all did, we're not recording. Bart, shut up and let us get this in and But anyway.
I wanted to save the good stuff. Yeah.
I know how you deadgum Yankees are, see. I spent a long time up there with y'all.
Hey, you know what? We know the rules. We don't mess with Texas, man.
That's the most beautifulest thing that I had ever laid my eyes on up to that point. All right, and I had goals that I set for me, and one of my goals was to wrestle in Madison Square Garden, of course, and being an angle with Hulk Hogan, and if you didn't. At the time, if you didn't, you had to go up there. You had to go to New York, or and join WWF, and to get them kind of goals set. And I stayed in the South, brother. And now I don't mean I didn't wrestle up there. I wrestled up there more from heck New York City all the way across. I wrestled Ronnie Garvin up there for the national heavyweight strap over and over, 45, 50 minutes. He wanted an Iron match. Garvin wanted an Iron match, okay? And every night you had to wrestle at least 49 right at the bell. I mean, best shape I ever been in my life. All right, that picture that y'all just showed right there.
Yes, sir.
That was right before that one right there. That belt right there is that the national strap, or is that the new Mid-Atlantic? I think
that is the new Mid-Atlantic, sir.
That's what I thought. And oh boy, see that things like that jog my memory. I mean, I know I was talking something completely different what I was talking before, but when we was off the air, now I'm talking something but that picture right there, I was fighting Sam Houston tooth and nail, and me and Sam had some of the best deadgum matches that ever come in anywhere. They couldn't follow us. But they had guys like Dusty, and Dusty Rhodes is my friend and my brother, and I love him. He put the Black Bart gimmick on me, but I'm the one that took the gimmick and made something of the gimmick, okay, of the angle. And to go through all that in my career, brother, we need about 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, maybe longer. But I like the guy that I'm writing this, I'm doing this book, and I was going to say about that book that and I'm ignorant to writing stuff on paper. I don't know how. I got a high school education. I went to college for 4 days. And brother, that's 4 days of pure hell of my life that I remember. Like, I won football scholarship at Howard Payne University. This is real quick. And I stayed there 4 days of 3 a days. I never heard of 3 a days.
Yeah.
3 a days is that you get up at 4:30. You get up at 4:30 in the morning and you don't go to bed till 1 o'clock at night.
Oh.
Okay. And pretty much that's what it is. And I told my high school football coach, I said, if I wanted to join the Army, I would have joined the Army. But Rick Miller, a good friend of mine, and I try to bring Rick's name up in every dadgum thing. He called me, me and him growed up together, elementary. As far back as I can remember anything about me, Rick Miller was there, okay? And he said, they're starting to school professional wrestling in Dallas. I said, sign me up. I throwed all my stuff into a 65 Mustang convertible, beautiful, and I come home from Howard Payne University, which is in Brownwood, Texas, just right down about, I guess it's about an hour from where I live right now. But and I went into professional wrestling, and paying dues is so important back then. If you didn't pay your dues, brother, you didn't get booked. You didn't get pushed. You didn't get nothing. They wouldn't give you the sweat off their nuts. I'm telling you. And if you was a green guy, which I was, I started around here just wrestling spot shows and little shows, wrestling as Arkansas Strangler, as Strangler Malakoff, as I don't know, but see, back then, if you paid your damn dues, and then to get in the business, you had to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, or you didn't get into business. Well,
right.
I was lucky because the guy that trained me, his name was John Shaw. Okay, well, John Shaw, okay, he was Ivan the Terrible. All right, and his wrestling name was Ivan the Terrible, and he wrestled back in the 50s and 60s, and hey, brother, just to be around the guy was awesome, you know, and let alone him, the dude trained me, and not just him, but Buddy Bullformer and Irish Jack Kennedy, and there was another old timer there, but them guys train you. They train you was trained by what they knew. Well, what they knew was 40s and 50s and 60s wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to the Carolinas, and the reason I got to go, I mean, there's story for everything, and the reason I got to go try full time in the NWA, okay, and I'm talking about the old time NWA. I ain't talking about this new stuff. I ain't talking about the new. I'm talking about the old time NWA, brother. The guy that trained me trained the Scotts, Sandy Scott and George Scott. Well, George was the booker in the Carolinas at the time. I mean, if you check it, you can check the records or whatever you want to do. But Ivan trained them, so they were friends. So Ivan had sent one guy up there, and he didn't show up because he was scared. Johnny McBrown, which I had trained with Johnny McBrown. Okay, but Johnny McBrown, he had a wife, and I was single. I had nothing, and I sold every. Ivan called me and said, I need somebody to get their butts up there. And I was supposed to be a German. It was supposed to be a German gimmick. But I walked into Charlotte office in Gene Anderson's little office there, right? And he said, "You're not a German."
Nothing about you says German. No, not at all.
I'm a dadgum Texan. I'm a redneck Texan to be that. And he said, from now on, boy, your name is Rick Harris. I said, yes, sir. He said, if your name's on that booking sheet, and you don't show up, you ain't there 2 hours, 3 hours before that show starts, he said, brother, you're fired. That simple. Don't even come back to the office. Just load your stuff up and go home.
There's
That
no
was
sugarcoating it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm cutting in. I'm just.
No, not at all.
But and the part about paying dues. Okay, I pay dues, brother. And this is an honor. And the guy that I brought my book, he says I need to leave some meat on the bone. I need to leave some, because he don't want me going on podcasts and doing it and telling my stories, because he wants he thinks I said wrestling is so over and over and repetition. Like I rode a horse around the ring 2 times, one in the Sportatorium, one in Northside College. I mean, at Real Rogers Coliseum in Fort Worth, Texas. One in Sportatorium and down. I rode the damn, and I thought maybe that was the first. No, that wasn't the first.
There was a mule involved too, wasn't there? Wasn't there a mule involved? A mule match, a loser rides a mule match.
That was in Reunion Arena.
Yeah,
me and Scott Casey, was in that, and boy, brother, that was a bloody knockout. He broke that mat. Scott broke. I don't think he meant to do it. It was an accident. Okay, but he broke like 5 bones in my left hand. He put my hand behind there, which you give them, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. That's the way it is in the ring, okay? And if you don't scratch my back right, I'm gonna scratch your back the same way you scratch my back. In other words, if you put that pressure on me, I'm gonna put that same pressure back on you. But Scott wasn't like that. He was a worker, what we call a worker, and a worker meant you make it look good, and I sell like a broke dick dog. And then when it comes my time, I put it on you, and you sell like a broke dick dog. That's the way it was. But now me and Frank get in the ring, and we just Frank Brody, and we just beat the living hell out of each other, and then go back to the dressing room and say, "I almost knocked your ass out." And Frank said, "I almost knocked your ass out. You kidding me, Bart?" I said, "I'll take that chair, I'll wrap her, and we're in the back. We're good friends." But we'd go out there in front of, and we would try to knock each other's ass out. And he never knocked me out, and I never knocked him out. But
now, Black Bart, in your prime, and I saw a couple of different websites. They had different weights and heights. I saw one that had you listed at 6'4", 350, and another one listed at 6'4", 285. Which one is the more accurate when you were at your peak?
I stayed. I was 6'4". I ain't no more, because you're everything as you age, it crumbles. It just got and y'all cry. And I try. I remember one of my elementary school teachers getting in my face, and he had horrible breath. He had some of the doggish breath, and he's right here in my face. He said, "Rick," he said, "you stand up and you be tall, and you stand up and you be straight. You stay straight." I said, "Yes, sir." And boy, I backed up away from him. Had some dragon breath, brother. And I remember that when I'm walking in front of a mirror or anything like that, and I try to straighten up.
Yeah.
Your dead body is pulling you over, But with and most of the time I was around 345.
Wow, pretty good size then. Yeah.
325 in that range of 315 to 445 in that. I stayed right around in there. It's where I dropped, like when I was 245 or 285. That's when I was fighting Ronnie Garvin. And when you get in the ring with Garvin, you got to fight. I mean, he don't hurt you. He don't hurt you, but brother, you better be in shape. You go in the ring with Ronnie Garvin, you better get your butt in shape quick. And he got.
Would you say he was the toughest? He was one of the toughest, brother, inside and outside of the ring.
Pound for pound, Ronnie Garvin is the toughest son of a bitch I ever been in the ring with.
Wow. And a lot of people say Haku and Harley Race are also two of the toughest ever in the business. Would you put Ronnie Garvin with them?
Now wait. Well, let me verify. The toughest the toughest, meanest son of a gun I ever been around in my life, and he's my good friend, is Barbarian. All right.
Barbarian.
Y'all know
Okay.
who I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Meanest, nicest son of a gun you ever met in your life. Dude, I could call him right now, and but brother, you get about 3 beers in that boy, and he'll fight a circus all, man. And he don't need no reason. He don't need no reason. Took 75 cops in L.A. out in California to subdue him.
Oh,
Got
wow.
one lady walked up, had him handcuffed, had him handcuffed. All right. And they still couldn't get him. They still couldn't get him in the cruiser. He was beating the piss out of him
Big
with his
dude, yeah.
shoulders. Okay, and a woman cop walks up to him and got that mace, and she's like going to open his mouth, said, "Shoot me, fill me up," and she unloaded that mace in his mouth, and he swallowed it, and he swallowed it. Turned around, started headbutting. When they got him to the hospital, when they finally got him to the hospital, because he went down the bar and he just took those big mugs and just bam, bam in the face, and the big jugs of beer, bam, bam, bam in the face, and blood. I mean, everywhere. And there's nothing you can do. Because I believe I could have stopped him, but you got to say, Barbarian, I'm calling Saney. Well, Saney is his old lady, his wife. And Saney whooped his butt all over the place. And he knowed it. And he knowed it, brother. I heard stories about Barbarian. But anyway, I'm going to finish one. They got him to the hospital and got him. The doctor said, there's no way, I can't deaden it. And the doctor just started sodium, got him all sewed up, Barbarian. His sergeant walks in. Walks in.
Yeah.
And looks at Barbarian and says, "So you think you're tough?" Barbarian looked at him and said, "Oh, you think you're tough? Hit me, you SOB, hit me." And that they said that, bam, nailed him. Barbarian spun around, now he's still handcuffed, and just starts headbutting that concrete wall and busting every stitch out. Headbutting that wall, face butting that wall, every stitch busted out. The doctor had to sew his old butt back up. Finally got him. But tough, pound for pound, the meanest, baddest son of a gun, and probably even today is Barbarian, Haku, okay, and then all the rest of them Samoan guys.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the young ones. Them guys, brother. You don't want to jack with them guys.
Yeah, I can see that.
Guys. Now, like Brock Lesnar, he's supposed to be a bad. And I was with Brock when Brock Lesnar started the business.
Mm-hmm.
And see, they ribbed the piss out of me. The old timers, Mr. Fuji, all them guys, Tenaru, Charlie Fulton, all them guys, they ribbed the piss out of me. So this greenhorn's coming in. He thinks he's going to get into our business, and I ain't going to rib him. That'd be wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't do hard. This funny little stuff. I would say something to him, like you think you're tough. You think you're bad. You ain't got you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing of what you're getting into. But just talking to him and ribbing him like that. Well, Bass would tell him, Bart, that guy will kill you. That guy. I said, Bart. I said, Bass. I said, brother, that guy is. I got ribbed, and 99% of the guys that ribbed me, I could have whooped their ass. I could have beat them up. I was in shape. They worked out on weights and stuff, but I was in savvy shape. I was in. Me and the Iron
country strong.
Not just that. I just come out of higher paying university.
Oh yeah.
3 a days, brother. And 3 a days is 24 hours a day. You get to sleep about an hour and a half, 2 hours, if you can sleep.
Yeah.
Thinking about what they're fixing to do to you. But with being tough in this business, that the Samoans and the guys from the islands and the Barbarians family, brother, them guys, and they're all cousins, or their second cousins, or their third cousins, and they're all from that same, and I'll say it, bloodline.
The bloodline, like Roman Reigns.
Bloodline.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the two main Samoans. Alpha and Sika. Them guys, brother. I wrestled with them guys. I was around them guys, and them some tough son of a guns that God ever let live. Now,
you know who also stated that was, and it surprised me a little bit, was Andre the Giant. Said the one guy he didn't want to ever tangle with was Haku, being that's from that Samoan background. He said that was the one guy he had a little bit of fear for the size of Andre. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Did you ever interact with Andre?
But Andre was, Did I ever wrestle Andre?
Or anything? Any stories?
I wrestled Andre probably in my whole career like 8 or 9 times. All right. Back then they would bring Andre into a territory like for 2 weeks.
Right.
Then he would be gone. He was the 8th wonder of the world.
Yeah.
He was an attraction. I mean, he would sell, but first match I ever had with Andre, brother, and I was young kids, and I didn't mean to be a smart ass, but Andre backed me in the ropes and chopped me. Okay, I didn't feel it, and back then we wanted to feel it, right? I didn't sell it because I knew if they seen me selling something that didn't look right, they would fire me. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't sell it. And, boy, that was a mistake. The next time he locked up with me, boss, I said, uh-oh. I said, I think I messed up. Uh-oh. I think I should. And he lit me up. He chopped me so hard, I thought he drove his hand through my chest. I walked around for like a week with his handprint on my chest, with it raised up about an eighth of an inch, with his whole handprint, brother. When he walked by me in the dressing room, I took a bump. Okay, when he walked by me in the dressing room, I would sit down on my ass and take a bump. But I didn't want that man to hit me like that ever again.
They said during his documentary that a ring on his hand, you could put a silver dollar through the ring. That's how big his fingers were. So I can imagine his entire hand.
But Andre was a sweetheart. But if he didn't like you, brother, he'd make the world. You was in a world of hurt because he didn't like John Studd. Me and Bass and John Studd, we lifted weights together. And I told him, I said, the match they had in Madison Square Garden, the first one they had, Andre beat the living piss out of John Studd. I mean, and John got out and got his bag and left.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't want to fight that giant. Well, nope. You want to be friends with a giant. And I don't know, Lynn Denton, the grappler. Me and him were drinking buddies, and him and Andre were best friends. And when I was Hangman Rick Harris out in Louisiana, me and Lenny split a trailer. He had one half of it, and I had the other half. And Andre found out that me and Denton was good friends, and found out where Denton was, because Andre, when he come into territory, he would find his friends, and then for the time that you was there with Andre, Andre was in your territory, you partied with Andre, and Andre he never stopped partying. Well, Andre was looking for Lenny Denton, the grappler, and he's got his little bedroom back there and everything. About 4 o'clock in the morning, them bars don't close down there in Louisiana, bro. They as long as you there, they but boom, 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 knock on my door. Well, I got a little porch out there, and it's about 4 foot. Open, you come up and you're standing in front of my door. Well, Andre's on the outside, standing on the ground, leaning over, pounding on my front door. And I look out, this is 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
And I'm
you have a giant at the door.
I got gun. I said, bam, and there's Andre. I said, brother, what are you doing? He said, boss, is Lynn Denton here? I said, yeah, he's in there in that damn bedroom. Are you kidding me? He said, show me. And he comes in. He has to climb. He has to crawl in the front door. And he goes in there in that bedroom, brother, and Denton's out. We go sleep. We party every night, but we go sleep around 3:30, 4 o'clock. Get up and do what we got to do the next day. Andre don't go sleep, so Lenny's in there passed out in his bed, right? Little twin bed. Andre reaches over, picks the bed straight up in the air, just like this, picks it up, flips the bed over, crashes it down.
Oh my God!
And the bed comes, and Lenny comes up like what the hell? What? He said, boss, what are you doing? Where's the bar? Andre said, where's the bar? He said, they're everywhere. They're on every block, every corner. There's a bar. There's an open bar. For like 4 more days, where she said, you and me and Bonnie, my wife then, but she passed away now. You, Bonnie, he knew me. He knew. And we go party now. I said, yes, sir.
And the stories are that he can drink over like 100 beers in one night. Did you ever witness that?
Brother, I don't know. When I drank with Andre, I was a big guy, but Andre would order a beer and then he would order a whole pitcher of beer. And he would take that mug and drop it down in that pitcher, and then he would pick up and drink out of the pitcher. That's what he drank out of, brother. The pitcher, he could take his hand and try this sometime. He'd take his hand and hold one of them pitchers around the flat part of the glass.
Oh wow!
And not the handle, but around the flat.
Yeah.
Palm it, like palming a basket.
Wow.
So it probably looked like a regular beer mug in his hand.
Oh yeah, and big, Andre, but Andre was a sweetheart, brother. And up when I was with him in his latter days up in the WWE or WWF, whatever you want to call it, and he's the only wrestler that I was ever around. He would have 3 liter deals of wine.
Yeah, right.
2 of them, and that was on his contract. In the dressing room, because he was in such pain because of that Giants disease, and it attacks your joints, it attacks everything. I love the man. And
anybody that's ever talked about him has always said good things about him. And I know, watching that documentary on him, you mentioned about Big John Studd running out of the arena. I know a couple guys that pissed him off along the way. Randy Savage and the Iron Sheik, and he told them, he basically made an example out of both of those guys in the ring, putting a little extra force into those guys.
Yeah, but just think about the size and the weight. If he just put a little bit behind it, and you can see the difference. I mean, you can see a difference in a working, and more especially if you're a worker. If you're a worker, then you understand what I'm talking about. The guy into my top right corner with the black beard and the didn't you used to be a wrestler? Brother, I can't.
Oh, you mean Charlie?
Who, me?
Yeah, Charlie. Yeah.
Oh. On a couple of video games, but that's about as far as I've ever gone.
I got you. I can't read our names. I can read. Yeah. I know mine. Hey, there you go, brother.
Yeah.
But the guys like Andre, brother. That the toughness of Andre was he would hurt you. He would just beat you.
I believe it.
Yeah, he would beat your brains out, and you got to put the Warlord up there. He was a tough guy, but not really tough to getting stretched. And a lot of guys didn't know what ripping and tearing was. I don't know if y'all know what ripping and tearing.
Not really. No.
Well, when you're a ripper and a tear, that's another step above a shooter. In other words, I wasn't a shooter, but I was taught how I was taught how to pop an eyeball out. I was taught how to rip a nose off. I was taught how to rip a mouth. Insert. It's just me and Ronnie Bass and J.J. Dillon was out in Florida when that territory was on fire out there. That's when Dusty Rhodes brought me out there and put the Black Bart gimmick on me, and we set the fields on fire, brother. I mean, we selling out everything we touched. Okay, and it was on a Sunday. We was double booked. We was at a highlight building. We wrestled in a highlight building. That's where these two dudes get on the stage, and they got these long basket looking things, and they take and chunk this hard ass ball out of these baskets at each other, back and forth. A lot of people don't even know what highlight is. I didn't know what it was, so I went. But we wrestled at a highlight building, and we wrestled with me and Bass was the world tag team champions down there, and we went in there in the first one and just beat. I can't remember if it was Mike Davis or if it was Tommy Lane, but I can't remember who it was. But that night we was wrestling Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham, and I'm gonna kill that boy, and I'm gonna pull his head off, and put down his neck. Yeah. Anyway, we come out of that highlight building. Right? And this dude is just giving Bass what for? I mean, calling Bass everything but a white man. And then his buddies get in behind him. Well, I'm standing on one side and JJ's standing on the other one. JJ's kind of pilling around in the back of the Lincoln Town Car doing something, I don't know. But the guy comes right straight at Bass, and I mean, Bass nails this guy, boom. A fan now.
Oh, wow.
Bass nails this guy, and down the guy goes. But the guy lands Bass. Somehow the guy lands on top of Bass. All right. And we thinking this guy is just tearing Bass's butt up. And as he coming up, I'm talking about ripping and tearing. And Bass knew this. Bass knowed about ripping and tearing. His fingers was just inserted inside this guy's skin on his face. And I mean, Bass wasn't throwing no. He was like bam, and he come up and he turned the guy loose and told him, said, "No, that's enough. No, don't no more." Well, this guy gets up. We think he was strung out on cocaine, but this guy comes running at Bass again. Okay, Bass grabs him by the throat, and you know them Lincoln Town Cars got that thing sticking up about 3 inches on the hood of their ornament thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, Bass choke slams him right straight down on that and let that guy go. Well, now we're running late now, so we just chick can that guy out on the ground, right? And I said, man, they're coming, and they didn't come. His friends didn't come. I figured he was going to attack us, right?
Yeah.
We got in the car. We went to Orlando. Orlando was the next shop, and before they beat us, brother, they beat us to the building, and they bought front row seats. There was like 15 or 20 of them, and I mean, this guy sitting there all bandaged up, and pieces of meat. He's sitting front row and center, brother, just happy as he can be, man. I said, look at that Bass, look at this guy. He said, he come back for more. But anyway, that territory, brother, that Eddie Graham Sports Arena in Orlando, Florida, brother, it was a tin building, and it would get 100 degrees out there.
Oh,
we put a thermometer on the apron. It was 145 degrees.
Oh my God! Wow.
On that ring apron, and they had
like the Sportatorium in Dallas.
In Dallas, same thing, same name too. Matter of fact, and we done the same thing as Sportatorium. See how hot it was in there, and they were about the same, about 145 degrees on the ring apron.
Wow!
Okay?
Gosh.
And but in that Eddie Graham Sports Arena, brother, we done that walking tall thing with Mulligan and Mulligan's family against Dusty's family, and and everything, and Mulligan finally gets this thing whittled, the board whittled out the way he wants it, and he says, I'm coming for each and every one of y'all, and y'all know who you are. Well, he beat the living. Mulligan is another tough son of a gun in our business, but he me and him was Eddie was having a match after he got back after brother, they come the all the heels hit the ring just to grab me, bodily pick me up and bring me back to the dressing room. Well, I got this long curly hair, brother, and them fans, they're coming up grabbing, and Bass is nailing guys right and left. The other heels, all the other here. We have 36 fights in one night.
Jeez.
At the Sportatorium, and I mean not at the Sportatorium, at Eddie Graham Sports Arena in Orlando, Florida. All right.
Jeez.
Now, brother, I think that's a record I still hold.
Wow.
I was supposed to be out, so they was ripping out big hands of my hair, and then Bass would nail, the Bass was up on and he was trying to keep them off my face and my hair, and brother, them rednecks down there, brother, they go beyond the thought of a redneck. Trust me, brother. Yeah, Kevin.
Wow, that's Bart,
Sawyer,
man. That's
Buzz Sawyer was supposed to come out from underneath the ring. Okay.
Yeah.
But Buzz like that wacky packet. He got under the ring, and how he must have went to sleep.
Man.
It's like 35, 40 minutes. The show's over. And Dusty finally tells Pee-wee, he said, Pee-wee, go down there and get him out of the ring. Tell him he's fired.
When he wakes up, right? Yeah.
Buzz come out of there. What the hell? What happened? I said, me and Buzz didn't have a lot of friends in the business, but me and Buzz was good friends, and I liked old Buzz pretty well. But,
well,
anyway.
I'll tell you what, guys.
Wow.
Black Bart, we'd love to keep you on for hours, man, and talk some wrestling because we love hearing this stuff.
Oh my
I'll
God.
tell you what, we would love to have you back because I'd love to tap into some of your WWF career and your interactions with McMahon and those guys, and your trip to New York.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because you're up there. You're up there where he lives. He made it dirty. Tell you about Vince McMahon. Okay, real quick.
Okay.
All right.
Vince McMahon. When you went to work for Vince McMahon, you knew when you went to work for him, he was a prick.
Yeah.
Right? That's it.
Yeah.
You knew. He was an asshole and a prick. It's all. It's the only thing. The only reason I went up there is because I need a place to go work, and I'm brother. I made some tons of money up there. I was considered the highest paid jobber in the business. Okay. And I don't mind being paid. I don't mind being called a jobber. It don't bother me one damn bit because that is an art all by itself.
It's something, you know what? It's something that we feature on this show every week.
I love y'all. I love you, and I love you. Thank y'all for having me on the show.
Yes, sir.
And I want real quick. I want to say that God bless everyone out there, and with nothing, you will never ever hear Black Bart ever say anything bad about the wrestling business because the wrestling business has been good to old Black Bart, and I have no qualms, no nothing. But when you like Vince McMahon and Jimmy Crockett Jr. And them guys, brother, they're assholes and they're pricks. And when you go to work for them, and I'm sure there's some out there right now that are just trying to take the places of Vince McMahon, and they're pricks and they're assholes. But if you say I will work for you I will wrestle for you, and that guy is paying you to go to the ring and do what he asked you to do. Then you go do it or quit.
Right.
Don't work for him. Yep.
Yeah.
But God bless everybody, and I love everybody, and God bless you three guys.
Well, hang on. I got one more thing real quick before we let you go, Mr. Bart. And
All right, brother, shoot.
this touches on a probably a sore subject, but I saw it on YouTube, and I want to mention my quick story too. And that's why when I send a letter out, I say we capitalize the P for pro and the W for wrestling. We have the utmost respect and privilege and honor to have people like you yourself, sir, join us here. But as a fan's point of view, like if it wasn't for some of the fans, right, who would a lot of those people be? And I saw your YouTube about the Undertaker snobbing your kids. That was just not right at all. That happened to me by Ric Flair at the Buffalo Marriott after a Nitro. You know, Ric Flair, right? Holy cow, or like Mr. Bart, if you were in front of me, I would be in awe.
Yeah,
because, you know, I'm a fan since 1980. We all are.
I got you, brother.
When Ric Flair, I went up to Ric Flair, I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Ric Flair, can I get a quick picture with you?" Mr. Bart, he just goes, he doesn't say nothing. He just goes like this to me. Okay, now that hurt me because I've been a fan since 1980.
Yeah.
But the 5-6-year-old kid in the elevator at midnight on a Friday night asks for an autograph, and you say, "I'm not on the clock, kid." That's wrong.
Yeah,
and
wrong,
I tell you, but the moral of the story is right. If it wasn't for the fans, who would a lot of these people be?
I'm telling you,
have all the respect in the world for like
think
Mr.
about
James
this.
Beard and you.
Think about this, and as you, and I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be mean to nobody, but when it's deserved, and it's the honest to God's truth, okay, for it to be known, Ric Flair he's never ever been a nice guy, even to the boys. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? Even to the boys that put him over in the ring, that could have whooped his ass in 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Okay. My match against Ric Flair, I was in red trunks. I had some kind of deadgum goofy ass wrestling boots on because I couldn't afford nothing else. And I was proud to be in the ring wrestling, doing a job for Ric Flair, that they thought enough of me to put me that soon on national TV with Ric Flair. Okay. Now, me and Ric Flair, we were up in one of the big signings. One of the big signings. It's up in the Carolinas. It's the one in Greensboro and the one in Winston-Salem, the last one they had. Anyhow, I'm inside the lobby, okay, and there's history between me and Ric Flair because when I done I don't know if y'all remember or not, when I done the Desperado thing looking for Stan Hansen with damn cat with it told my thought with and was looking for Stan Hansen. Anyway, it was supposed to be aired on TBS, and it was. It's like 90 minutes. They aired it in like 10 or 15 minute sections or whatever, and then. But my good friend, Ric Flair, went to Ted Turner, said, "You give him 3 jabronis all that TV time, and you give your world champion none."
Mm.
And I see the reason I know this story's true is because the producer of the Desperados called me and said, "Hey, Bart, you know, Flair's trying to cut y'all's throat ear to ear," and he did. He did. See, that was supposed to have been sold to Fox Network, and it was supposed to be a sitcom. That's why that thing was made. It wasn't to bring Stan Hansen in or anything like that. Even though Stan said, and I don't believe this for one iota, because me and Stan are good friends, that Stan said he would have nothing to do with none of us. None of us. And Stan would have, because Stan never worked full time for the Crockett's, and he wanted to. But with that being said, we walked in that show. I walked in that show, was in the lobby, the signing thing here 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. Whatever how long it was ago. And Flair comes in behind me, and he's got 14, 15 people around him. As he's coming in the door, I'm off to the side. He can't see me. Well, he's telling the Black Bart stories.
Oh,
He's telling stories about Black Bart.
Hmm.
And I said, wow. I just kind of I slip off. Well, he goes down to the restaurant, which is right there in the lobby, but he sits outside the lobby. And it's like 3 or 4 chairs around his table, and he said, he looks like he's worried to death about something. And I sat down and I said, brother, you know that I love you, and I have no heat. I have no heat with you, and I don't want no heat with you. And I leaned over and kissed him on the head, and walked off, and I never spoke to him again. But with Rick, you think of there's other guys that has done exactly what you described, Flair, but that's the way Flair is in the dressing room with the guys that made him, put him over, and put that. In other words, if the wrestlers didn't put him over, who would he beat?
Right.
And it
Takes two to tango.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a stinking work.
Right.
It is a work, guys. It's not. It's real.
right.
Something you can't toss a guy through a table and the law of gravity stops.
Right.
The law of gravity is going to pull you right through it, and they teach you how to land and let your body absorb that whole blow.
Yep.
That's how you defy the law of gravity, and then your body gets used to that every stinking night. We wrestled every night. Okay, I'm not getting away from that your story, brother. But we wrestled every night. Okay, and with that, Flair. I've seen, and I hate saying this, but Flair ranks right up there with Vince McMahon, Jimmy Crockett, my good friend you mentioned the story about the Undertaker and me. That's the honest to God's truth. They wasn't even gonna let me in the back door that night, and they wouldn't even. They wouldn't. If Big Boss Man walked by and seen me trying to get me and my 2 kids and my ass in the back door. And if anybody ought to be able to go in the back door, Black Bart is one of them. Okay? Well,
Yeah.
Boss Man walks by and he said, what are you doing? Talking to the guard. There's 2 guards there. I said, what are y'all doing? Said, what are y'all doing? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who this man is? Yes. I said, you put him on my list now. And his kids. And he's got free reign of that whole back there.
Nice. Yeah. The way it should be. Yeah.
That's the way it should be. But
yeah.
The assholes, you have to put them in a category. You have to say, I love this guy. I love this guy, but he can't help himself. He's a prick.
Yeah.
I mean, and I have no. My deal with the Undertaker was, me and the Undertaker, brother, we rode together, we lived together. The Undertaker gimmick was offered to me first. Now,
oh wow,
can you believe that?
Wow.
The Undertaker gimmick, Dusty Rhodes offered it to me first. 2 weeks later, Paul Bear and Mark wound up at the TV. He was the Undertaker.
Now, when you look back at that,
and I got my notice.
When you look back at that, you look at the 30-year career of the Undertaker. Are you glad he took it at this point in hindsight because of where the levels he took it to, or would you have rather have?
Yeah, no. He. I'm glad I did, because I would have took it. I would have took it for the
Sure.
because I couldn't have carried it. I could not have carried that gimmick like the Undertaker carried that gimmick. Okay,
Right.
because I
It
would
was
have been. Yeah, he had. It was his gimmick. It was meant for him. But it's just people don't know. That was offered to me in Connecticut and a show. After the show, we went. Me and Dusty and Dustin went to got our rooms in the same place. And Dusty says, "Bart, come up, get your beer," because he knew I got a case of beer, and I went and watched HBO. That's what I done after the shows, and and come up here. I want to show you something. And he laid it all out on the coffee table in the room. He laid the whole thing out.
wow.
But this was when it had a lot of purple in it. Had a lot of purple
Right.
in
Yeah.
the gimmick in the deal. And then he cut. No, I have no, except for maybe the money. The money the money would have been good, but I blowed so much money, in my career that I made $1 million over, and
Nice.
I can say all my vehicles are paid for, my house is paid for, my land's paid for, other than electric, bill and stuff like that, phone bill and stuff like that. I'm fine, brother. I'm fine.
Good.
I got insurance.
Hey.
But other than the money, and I don't know that my money with WWF ended when him and Paul Bart started. But him and Paul Bart was my manager in Texas for years. He, me and brother
Good old Percy Pringle. Yeah.
Me and Percy went back to the old Alabama, the Mobile, Pensacola territory, and but that's like y'all said. I can sit here, brother. I can sit here and talk for hours and hours.
Oh man, I'll
Thank
tell you
you.
what, Black Bart, we'd love to have you back again, sir, because like
Definitely.
we could go on for hours. We want to, your time's sensitive. We don't want to keep you all morning, but
Thank you.
from myself as a wrestling fan, never a wrestler, unfortunately, but as a wrestling fan, and I guess I can speak for all of us. We're so grateful to be able to hear some of these stories and be able to shoot the breeze with you a little bit about it. It's awesome. And anytime you want to come back, please do.
Let me get. I want to say, because a lot of people, I dip snuff and drunk beer, and I am an alcoholic, but I am a dry alcoholic. I haven't had a drink of beer or I have. Let me get it right. I haven't. No snuff, and the people that know me personally, brother, I dipped me some Copenhagen. Don't think I didn't. I mean, I didn't play about it. I could put a whole can in there and go all day with it in my mouth.
Oh.
And I quit. Now I've been dry. I've been dry. Thank God, for over 10 years. All right. And
Good for you.
I haven't. I've lost most of my teeth because of it. But I ain't got cancer or anything like that. Dr. Death Steve Williams, when he had that hole, he had a hole in his throat. He had to put his thumb over it. We was in a show in Louisiana, and I had a big old dip in my mouth, right? Dr. Death grabbed me, hugged me up, and I mean, when Death hugged you, brother, you was hugged, okay?
Yeah.
And
Right.
he said, he got right in my ear, and he said, "Bart, quit dipping." And he's got his finger over his. He said, "Quit dipping."
Hey, speaking of dragon breath, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure it didn't help that. Right?
And then he pulled, and then he showed me the hole in his throat where they.
Oh man.
Yeah, brother. Shortly after that, I quit. But
That was a wake up call, right? Yeah.
God bless everybody, and
Thank you.
Thank y'all guys for having me on. And I mean, I love doing these things, but I don't leave no. The guy that's writing my book said I don't leave no meat on the bone.
That's right. Hey,
So,
we'd
but-
love to have you back, sir. We'd love to have you back.
Love y'all.
Yes,
God bless
definitely.
everybody. God bless everybody. Bye bye.
Thank
God bless you, sir.
Thank
Take
you.
care of yourself. All right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Hook 'em horns. Yeah, that's right. Here we go. Wow, Mr. Black Bart, man.
Wow.
We could have kept them all day, right? Because I love hearing these stories. It's so
Oh,
awesome. Guys, I know
Yeah.
we got to check in with our sponsors here. We were a little bit over here, but let's check in with our sponsors, and we'll be coming right back here. Stick with us. All right, guys, we're back here on the Falls Country Anywhere podcast. Charlie Turner here along with Chris DiCarlo, John Rustino. Gentlemen, we went about an hour with Mr. Black Bart there. Should we keep it going here? Do you guys want to wrap up for the week, and then we'll bring our classic clips, everything back? We went a little bit past format, but I'll tell you what, listening to those stories was worth it. So why don't we call it on the fly here? We'll reconvene next week. You guys cool with that? And then we'll bring up the clips and all the fun stuff. And that's no knock on Black Bart. No, if he's watching or anything, man, like I said, we could have went 2 or 3 hours with that gentleman. There's some great stories and a good talker, man. We just
so much that I mean, he brought up when he fought Ric Flair. I mean, that was Georgia Championship Wrestling in '81. I mean, I could have had mentioned that, and Mid Atlantic. We could have gone on and on, but we want to thank him and thank Mr. James Beard. And what a great show. It's going to go long, but we didn't know how long, right? But we don't want to stop him either because
no. Yeah, absolutely, and we want to have him back too because there's so much more that we can talk about with Mr. Black Bart there. That was great. So we appreciate it, and a shout out to his grandkids too that were in the background as he was tangling with the cat as well during the the interview.
That was
very down to earth, very humble guy that had some awesome stories of the wrestling business. But yeah, gentlemen, as we hit the 1 hour mark here, again, we just wanted to get in our sponsorships, and we appreciate each and every one of them. And we can again, you guys want to wrap up right now? We'll put a little bit of the information that we usually do up on screen here for again, we're a show of the people. We'd like to get out that information. John, if you don't have it this week, that's fine.
I got this week. I'm trying to go one a week, instead of throwing all things out there. This week, it's this. It's 988. It's the new number all across the country. If you're in crisis, if you feel that way, and everyone does once in their life, all the time, you get feelings. 988 is there for you. The other thing I want to say, because I saw a cool commercial about this the other day on TV. Even if you're if someone is in crisis and you don't know what to do, call 988. They're there every day. They're the best. And please remember, it's really easy. 988.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thanks for that information.
Just definitely a quick shout out. We would like to thank our viewers, Ray, Charlie, and guys.
Absolutely.
and thank John and Robin for their hard work and producing along with us. But we thank our home base there on Facebook. We want to thank, and on Twitter, and our YouTube on Friends Media Network is growing.
Yes.
And also on Spotify. So we want to thank all our viewers across all platforms. And
if only WWE would leave our ass alone with the some of the videos they've blocked on YouTube. Yeah. I mean, look, we're not showing full matches. We're not distributing any of this stuff. It's just, we're showing like little 30-second clips of this stuff. So apologies if you went to YouTube to go watch it and it was blocked, but please join us on our Facebook feed is the main hub, if you will. But guys, as we come back next week,
guests coming down the pike too, so we'd like everybody to stay tuned. A special guest on Saturday, October 8th, will be joining us live from, speaking of Black Bart brought it up, Tampa, Florida area. So we look forward to that. And down the future, coming up on our 1-year anniversary, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's already 1 year in October, late October. So hard to believe it's already been a year. Things have certainly changed over the course of the year. But again, next week though, I won't be here, unfortunately, gentlemen. I'll be traveling a little bit, but definitely I'll be sending your way some Sheik tweets. We got to catch up with the Iron Sheik, of course, and a lot going on in the world of wrestling, which. You go out there on Twitter, on social media, there's a lot going on with the return of Bray Wyatt and the whole White Rabbit thing, which is pretty cool stuff that WWE is doing right now. Triple H using a little modern technology with some creativity, and it's kind of been like a subliminal messaging going on at live events with the White Rabbit song playing and all that stuff. So plenty to cover next week. We'll get into
a lot of title matches on AEW shows lately too. We got a shout out to the new Ring of Honor champion, Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho, absolutely. New AEW champion, Jon Moxley, who defeated Bryan Danielson in the finals there. And the Acclaimed, the new tag champs, the Acclaimed are catching fire in the world of wrestling with their freestyle rapping and all that stuff. But guys, let's wrap it up. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week. I won't be, but John and Chris will be, hopefully. And if not, then we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk with potentially one of the other half of the Killer Bees. Here on Falls Count Anywhere. So again, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching. If you liked our video, then click the like button below and the subscribe button to be notified when a new video is uploaded. Here are some of our other videos. Remember to leave a comment